All right. Thanks everybody for logging back in and being patient, man. But as I was saying, that the above can suggest that divine creed is the application of a system, which is Islamism. Islamism, old time religion, ancient of belief, principles, laws that relate and proceed directly from God, or which is Allah, and the method in which this expressed is through the cultural, spiritual demonstration. Hence the term Moorish Islam. So I'm just clearing things up for brothers, for we don't get in on the perspective like we're talking about some Arab Islam or something. But it was given through us through, or reintroduced to us through Noble Drew Ali. We are not Arabs and do not prescribe to be the Arab nationalistic ideology or ideology they call al-Islam. It does not even equate to what the Prophet Muhammad demonstrated as the living Koran, right? Because us Moors, we know this system as what? Man, know thyself and thy father God. Right, Moors? Come on. This is something we must know. But Allah, or Islamism, the first divine instruction given to us, which is more of a commandment of our divine creed, is rooted in Allah and Allah alone, and our connection to that manifestation. What is a belief, family? According to the dictionary, is something believed or accepted as true, especially a particular tenet or a body of tenets accepted by a group of persons. The word principle, it means a basic truth, a law, or assumption. Or assumption. The idea is to explore our Moorish Islam from its divine side and how it could and should be applied to our daily lives in all aspects of that said life. The purpose of man is to give worship, praise, and remembrance to his creator in thought, in word, in deed, and action. What is exactly the divine creed of the Moorish Islamism? It is a saving power that comes from understanding what that manifestation of Allah really is. That was reintroduced back to brothers and sisters through Noble Drew Ali. We just have to give credit where credit is due. But what I mean by this bold statement that I'm saying, family, is that all that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought back to our remembrance, it makes up the essence of our divine creed, family. The three main pieces of our literature, the three main pieces of our literature that was given to us was the Moorish Holy Koran. That's why when I speak of this, I say, when I be talking, and I be saying, I'm just talking about I be speaking of the Quran, brother be like, huh? I be like, oh my. Which was divinely prepared and not authored by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Moorish questionnaire, what I be reading off, and the divine constitution and the bylaws, the 101s and the 102s, are just pieces, but important pieces, family, of many pieces that make the whole of our divine creed. That divine instruction, which is another way of referring to the Moorish Holy Quran, contains many of the principles and beliefs that make up our creed. And so we can examine some from a holistic thought through all four gates of paradise. So let's go. But our prophet, if I give homage where credit is due, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, he spoke of belief and that it was man, what man thinks as truth, and faith is what man knows as truth, and fruitation. To grow is man himself, the truth. This is known as the three-step ladder, family, which is not physical at all. But listen, it deals with man and the development of his spirit. The Eso, what's inside. How many are standing on the master steps? That third step, that fruition, that seed blossom to fruition. Come on, Moors. This is just a piece of our divine creed, which will always lead man back to that manifestation of Allah, that arm, leg, arm, head, and his own self. We are taught of the true workshop being in the mind and the utilizing of spiritual tools. When I talk about the workman tools, when I talk about the Kemetic principles or the Hermes, but the spiritual tools to develop yourself, myself, and all that around us, to sculpt, to mold, to sculpt oneself into the perfect man. So we must remember again, brothers and sisters, what creed is and what divine is as we proceed. It's just ground rules. This is nothing jamming down your throat. This is nothing I'm jamming down your throat. What I'm giving you is things for you to research and take home for yourself and research and study. And like I tell brothers, if it's not important to you, of course I'm not for you. And that's okay. It's a lot of people that I'm not for. I'm fine with that. But chapter 1 of the Moorish Holy Koran, which when Moors be going around, when I be quoting this and they say it's in code and I laugh, I say that's just lazy. That's just lazy. When Moors say they dealing in civics, that means criminal. That's my perspective. Because it's how you operate and it's everything what's attached to that vessel. It has to be righteousness attached to that vessel or it's no good. Brothers be looking something for outside themselves, looking for Jesus, don't understand that manifestation is in you. When I say Ashe and Aya Asher, I'm talking about drawing things to you. What do you think this is about? You think it's something outside yourself. But the Prophet Drew Ali, he spoke of the fruition. But in the chapter 1 of the Quran, it has beliefs and principles that we go by, where we acknowledge, such as what? The thoughts of Allah not being circumscribed. The bodies and souls of men are finite things. Man is not the body, nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Man is a thought of that manifestation of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. Spirit man is seed of that spirit manifestation of Allah and holds every attribute to that manifestation within. The human seed of Allah. And when I say that, I have to break it down and talk about manifestation because I don't want you to get out of the perspective we're talking about some outside ourselves. We talk about arm, leg, arm, head. So I hope you're following me. But ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest. Khalifa, vicegerent, perfect man must pass through all the ways of life. Man has a foe, brothers and sisters. His carnal self, his lower self, that 360, nature springing forth from where? The flesh. Man cannot die. Spirit man is one with Allah, family. I'm just talking the Quran, the Moorish science Quran that brothers say they read. But the majority of the Moorish American Muslims, M-O-S-L-E-M-S, under the voice of the Prophet Drew Ali, believe in these tenets as truth. For Allah is truth. And this is pertaining, what? It's pertaining to Allah, which makes the divine. And it shows also a showing another purpose of creation, which was to be the authority. So chapter 1, it forms the prime base for the statement. What is the statement that I always say, that brothers like to say? It's in our book. It's in the Quran. Man, know thyself and know thy Father, God Allah, is giving you your divine organs and connections, right? This is a belief or principle, right? From our gospel, we honor the truth that man and Allah are one, right? We honor what? We honor the truth. And another name we give it is what? The holy breath. And the breath is directly related to what? The spirit or the spirit man. Come on, right? I mean, somebody talk to me. Somebody talk to me. This is what we building. I mean, somebody talk to me, man. This is what we building. Which is a thought of Allah. The thought belongs to the sender, and the thought returned to the sender. As man is the micro or the macro on the lower level of the creation. We do at that manifestation tells us we create, and thoughts manifest and shape into the physical realities or to this physical realm. It is said what? Be careful what you ask for. Why? Because you might get it. These are the catchphrases. What goes around comes around. This all relating back to thought. What you send out returns to you. So when you speak of death, when you speak of sickness, it has to come back to you. It don't come back void. So when I speak life. When I say Ashe, I speak life. Those are the vibrations we're supposed to stay on. Plenty of people come at me with negative vibrations and try to say what the Moorish Science Temple is to them. I can care less what it means to you. I ain't talking about you. So I can care less what somebody think. I tell people to challenge or research and find what's within. But the prophet said, keep your minds pure and your bodies clean with water. Look at the temple. Look at the vessel. Things supposed to correlate. But what's important to note is the statement is keeping the mind pure. Keeping the thoughts pure. No negative information. No false doctrine. We should be easy to separate that. Because thoughts shape and create our own heaven and hell. And these conditions are made by man himself, which is a belief or a principle that Moors live out and apply to self. As our Moorish divine creed always led us back to Allah and the self. Why do I say that? In our chapter 1, it's a mention of religion or even the word Islam. Is it? Come on. Come on, brothers. Moorish Islam, as prescribed by our holy prophet, is older than organized religion of al-Islam, which differs from the Islam the prophet Muhammad demonstrated. We are told that our Islam comes from Palestine, Kemet, and India. Nowhere is Arabia mentioned, and these locations precede Arabia in spiritual sciences. The Orthodox Islamic world would attempt to label our expression as shirk, binding partners with Allah, or not real Islam. But the reality, family, is you cannot separate yourself from your creator. And to do so, or to do this, is true shirk. You follow me? As the ancients expressed. Why? A unified, harmonious, spiritual alignment and connection to the divine source. And we knew, and they knew their relation. We knew our connection, our correlation to it, our oneness. Knowing the relation is to actually have infinite divine experience, family. And how can the thought separate itself from the creator of the said thought, family? See, this is the question that we have to ask. We have to ask this so-called Orthodox world, because they actually see Allah as a sky god sitting on a throne or arsh, per se, in the sky. This is the stuff that they give out, that the prophet spoke about going on in the East, as we can witness today. This is what some promulgate. But today, family, this is missing in Moorish America, because we have become too national, too material, too physical, believing that that's the only way to work. And that's an imbalance, family. And that's all I'm saying. Yes, it's a way, but it's an imbalance. The divine must be applied first. It's a divine order, family. And I'm sure that we can agree in our divine creed, family, there is no separation from Allah and man. Right? Right, Moorish? The Prophet taught us of two selves, right? Higher self, human spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah. The lower self is the carnal self, body of desires. Lower self is a distorted reflection of the higher self by the flesh. Higher self, the embodiment of truth. Lower self is the truth reversed. When I talk about what's above and what's below, when there's nothing outside of yourself, righteousness and goodness, just like the thermostat. Does the thermostat go outside for hot and cold? No, it's within. But it's something that gives it hot and cold. It's the essence. So you don't separate the essence and the material. Those both go together. But the only devil is self, is within. Man's savior is inside of self. And this is pertaining directly to Allah and man, again, as one. But the Muslims call it Tawhid. Their concept does not align themselves to be connected with the essence of Allah. It's ancient, the true oneness. That's an African manifest, just as our expression of Moorish Islam. So when I speak of things, I just tell brothers to do research. Because the copy chew. When they talk about the Hermetic principles, that's the Kemetic principles. When you talk about Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, they all was studied in Egypt. I did a whole lecture on this at the college campus and destroyed all encyclopedias. George G. James wrote a book called Stolen Legacy. You can pull out it, you can research that. It's a great book. I did this lecture in an African American department. They had no idea. I talked about the Dark Ages, antiquity times, the medieval times. When I talked about Socrates and Plato, that's the first question I asked. Who was the father of medicine? Who was the father of philosophy? Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. And when I broke them encyclopedias out and I showed them in history, I don't come from no biasness. I challenge you to research for you can make your own assumption. And if you still want to go with the thing that you want to believe, because your belief can be based on a lie, that's on you. I'm not here to convert no one. But my interpretation, what the spirit that's inside of me, what those that are following me, when I go do teachings, when I travel, what we believe of the Moorish divine creed is not to be looked as the defining measure of the final proof, or like this is it, because nothing is it. If you say you are Moor and you a navigator, it's just an interpretation. What I'm giving you from my context, what it's done for me, of the understanding that Allah has placed upon me and what it's done in my life and how it changed me and my family and things that are around me, how things began to draw to me. But our divine creed is centered on changing us in a most drastic way, in a way that would increase our commitment to Allah. And that's the commitment within. I tell brothers, how can you say you respecting the God within and you don't have no commitment? We just be talking. And when I tell brothers we can do anything we want if we commit. No, brothers, commit. But by recognizing the divinity in you. So you have to recognize who you are. And once you recognize who you are, you're not worried about nothing outside yourself or comparing yourself to somebody else. You are your own special vessel, connected to the oneness. Frequency, vibrations. So that the higher self can breathe constantly and continuously to live and carry out the divine laws that come from Allah through our holy prophet to us. But the Moorish know well of the mind and the way, or the man may at times be referred to as mind. We must remember that man a lot of times is referred to that mind. Just like when we talk about that spirit, the wisdom of Solomon, it's always referred to as a woman. Sarah, we have to understand certain things. That feminine spirit, that's both manifestations. For mind exists, but is not seen, just as true man is no seen with eyes of flesh. But in the mind, we are taught about the workshop of the mind, being where we build up the temple of the perfect man, removing all those things that would keep the spirit locked up or in prisoner. While man is a physical or he's a physical essence. What we are building up, family, is not. That's not what we're building up. But see, when we go the opposite way and try to build up the physical temple the other way, it's detrimental to your health. We adhere and acknowledge the tools, family. These spiritual tools that I'm speaking of, that exist way before the physical ones. Know that the physical buildings were not nothing more than the outward, family. The outward show of the ancient master adepts. They knew in relation to building up the true temple, the body, and its inner workings. Why do I say that? Watch this. Watch this. If you follow my lecture when I talk about the workman tools, all in our lecture, all in our literature. Here we go again. You can find this in the Quran. It's in here. It's in here. I want you to read it. So we finna go with this. You ready? The chisel, the square, the hammer, the plummet, the line, the axe, the compass, the plane, and the 2 ladders, one consisting of 3 steps, and the other consisting of 12 steps of moral manifest. Huh? Come on. Moors, we are taught that for 18 years, Jesus, which is Yahshua, was a student who sat in many schools of thought, mastering and correcting those schools along the way. Right, family? I mean, Moors. And when I say that, I don't get no shades and then because most of them haven't read it. Read it. And then we can have a discussion. Read it. We base plenty of our character development off of the example of Jesus, which is Yahshua, and all true and divine prophets. But our prophet specified Jesus, which is Yahshua, because this is what our people could relate to. Listen to what he was telling when he said, if I can get you to think what people can relate to. Relate does not mean right. It means to draw you, to have association with. That's why I say words mean things. So research, that's just another nugget. But to relate to, and this is the name they knew. Most brothers and sisters don't know Yahshua and Yahweh. Because when I see brothers and they say they're Hebrew Israelites, they have the King James Version. And they don't even have the Holy Name Bible. And I don't care what version you have. Everyone is a version. And I say, well, you can at least have the 1611 with the Apocrypha. And have the Holy Name Bible when you quote scripture and give the holy names. If you say you are Hebrew, because you should be using Hebrew words. But that's a whole other story. But the divine creed of the Moorish Islam is covered in the actions of Jesus. Hey, this Holy Quran say this. I'm going to show you. It says the 18 missing years. Matter of fact, before I even go on, I'll just give you the introduction. It got the Sultan Abdul Aziz Abu Suud or Suad, the descendant of Hagar, now the head of the holy city of Mecca. This was then. I'm just going to give you the intro and the preface, the genealogy of Jesus with 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age. These secret lessons are for all of those who love Jesus and desire to know about his life, works, and teachings. And then I'll go down to it. It says the reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1927. The industrious acts of the Muslims of the Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are the Muslims, Hamites, Canaanites, who were driven out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from pharaohs of Egypt to settle in the portion of Egypt. I'm just giving you a preface of the Circle 7 Quran. This whole thing is about the 18 missing years after the feast, homeward journey, the missing Jesus, the friendship of Jesus and Lammas. Jesus explained to Lammas the meaning of the truth. Jesus reveals the people of their sinful ways. Jesus, 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 Jesus. So, I mean, read it. But the divine creed of the Moorish, okay, boom, I said that. We are to take the examples of Jesus. Yep, I said that too. Okay. But according to the dictionary, an authoritative, directive, or direction to be obeyed, or an order. And it's safe to say, family, if we're going to be correct, that divine instructions can simply mean any authoritative order pertaining to God giving direction. I mean, all we got to do is say yes or no. And I say research it. It's that simple. We don't have to be asking no question. All we got to do is research. That's why I tell brothers, I know who be doing catchphrases and memes. Because when I see catchphrases and memes, and I be like, man, I be wanting to say something, but I'm humble and I back off. And I say, that person didn't even say that. That's not even factual. When I saw a person put up there, sir means slave or something, I said, that can't be true. I said, I can show you simple research. But I don't be wanting to correct brothers because we don't do no research. And I call that lazy. It doesn't even mean that. I have all the dictionaries, all languages. You have to make sure what word mean in every language before you can say, yes, that mean that. Because it don't. It doesn't. Simple research to do it, but we post memes. And that's how people be learning, talking about more science and giving it a bad name off of a few couple Negroes with a fez on, talking crazy. And I have to say that because that's how we talk. So I can't be studious all the time and talk with a silver tongue and eloquent all the time and use words that everybody might not learn. Because then you'll be saying I'm acting bougie. And it's not. We are studiers. We're supposed to use language. We are navigators. We're supposed to know linguistics. We don't get caught up in linguistic apartheid. These are the things we're supposed to know. We're supposed to know context. We're supposed to know subjective and objective. We're supposed to know what arbitrary means. We're supposed to know these certain words so we don't get caught up in someone trying to twist us up with a wordplay. We're supposed to know dispensations. We're supposed to know time periods. So when people be talking, I'll be laughing. I'm like, man, you all out of jurisdiction. They say, what you mean? I said, because that time period didn't happen. So that's all I'll be talking about. That's all. Peace and love, fam. So what I said today, okay? I said that. But this helps to establish the fact that our Moorish Holy Koran is a part of our divine creed because of what it pertains to and what it is directing us to be. It's directing us to be something, right, family? And the way to go. Here are some more tenets and principles. The truth cannot pass away or change, and that there are only two things in the world, truth and falsehood. Man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Force is the will of Allah, wisdom, faith, and understanding, and their meaning as defined by Jesus. This is what the Quran say, man. You don't got to be talking about what he talk about some Jesus. You don't understand the essence of what we're talking about. That's why I tell brothers when they be dissing something, I say, that's the wrong spirit. You should be trying to figure out what this all about so you don't get caught up in the wordplay. Man must continue to fight the good fight, the true essence of what's inside, which is internal, because he is the constant conflict with his own self. When I tell brothers, you're not in competition. When you start doing things and when you start manifesting things and when things start coming to yourself and business start coming to you, you're not in competition with nobody else. You shouldn't even be worrying about nobody. Why are you wasting your energy worrying about somebody else? You're taking what you're doing, you're taking a tittle. You're taking your energy and that positive vibration and taking it out to focus on someone else. And you should be focusing all your energy and all your channel to what you're good at. We must continue the fight. We must continue with the fight within. But that conflict is that nature. The truth is man in his spirit, and the falsehood is his flesh. And this is that strange mixture that yields results, such as crime or violence and doubt. But when one knows not the illusions of the lower self or the carnal nature of the flesh, it has thoughts. You must fight, family, to know the difference. When I talk about types, it is a type. The Moorish divine creed consists of many divine instructions, application, and guidance, including the invoking of the angelic, the hierarchy, and the demonstrated in chapter 1. Dominions, thrones, powers, cherubim, cherubim are at your disposal, Moors, when you are in your spirit man or operating in your higher self, what I like to hear brothers say. How? How are you operating as your higher self? As well as air, fire, water, earth, thunder, lightning. Man has all these access through his higher self. Don't you know that? That's what we're talking about. That's what the lessons teach us. That's what the lesson asks us. What makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes? You may ask yourself that. Man is the answer. But what type of man? What type? What type? What type? Spirit man who speaks on high. On high for the means of Allah is speaking through man, family. We all believe Allah speaks even though we cannot see him or see that essence. And it is two ways according to our Moorish Holy Koran. I'm going to keep holding it up because when I speak on it, brothers be thinking I be speaking Korean or Hebrew. And I said, brother, I ain't even spoke Hebrew yet. But the first way is through a still, a small voice that cannot be heard. That cannot be heard by the naked ear, but by the heart from the still. And also Allah speaks to his creation through his creation. Man facing man. That's what we're talking about. This is a firm belief in our Moorish divine creed. A power, a principle. I would not be able to cover all this, about this divine creed that Allah give us, because I don't have that much time. I got to get out of here in a few, but we're going to keep going. But I'm sure this topic can be expounded upon time and time again. For each man is granted a portion and a measure of our prophet's teaching. Did you hear me, my brothers and sisters? That's why I tell you to study. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just trying to spark for you to study. I will say this again. I'm sure that we can expound upon this topic time and again. For each man, for each woman is granted a portion or a measure of our prophet's teaching. And I can go back to that divine creed. Is any belief, principle, tenet, law pertaining to God or of any God? I am reminding us what divine creed is. This keeps us on the right path of perfection. It's not a destination, it's a path. And we are perfecting the way. That's all. When we look in the faces of our brothers and our sisters, we are looking in the image of Allah who speaks within. When we honor each other, we honor Allah. And what we do for man, we do for Allah. And when we harm in thought, and deed, and action, we wrong Allah. We wrong that spirit. Those are just some tenets, family. To teach the divine creed, to teach, the teacher would have to be exactly what he or she is. Teaching. Teaching. The creed is the vehicle and the divinity is the ignition. Man being the seed is only as perfect as the source of which it comes. The source, the vessel. Well, the human seed came from Allah. The seed has no choice but to recognize and become as its source. For man, that is conflict that cannot be told in words, but can be led one to those, the divine experiences with the infinite that helps man recognize and identify that Allah, that spirit within, is in the building. And when I say in the building, in that heart, The heart is the meeting place of Allah and man. For Allah does not exist in the sky, on a throne. The only throne Allah rests upon, family, is the heart of the believer. Believer means knower, family. Believer means knower. But I'm amazed, family, to find when we converse over this divine creed, because we're not arguing, we're conversing over the divine creed. But some Moors cannot read properly and understand that there is a difference between angel and the prophet. I mean, don't you know this? Where's my, let me show, where's my, hold on, let me show you. When I talk about the Moorish adapt study, the Moorish house of Ali, the mysticism, the Egyptian adapt, the prophet and the angel, we have to know certain things, man. But according to our Moorish questionnaire, this tenet is strong in Moorish Islam and is widely accepted as truth, for it was demonstrated. We believe in the method of which angels and prophets are manifested, but the difference is in the flesh they make up each. Come on, Moor. I'm just saying what, I'm just quoting our creed, what we have. We also say that Allah is the father of the universe. We believe in Noble Drew Ali as Allah's prophet. We believe in all the divine prophets, the Elohim, the creator faith. These two are more elements of that continue to make up what our divine creed consists of. We have not even made a small dent in my interpretation of what the Moorish divine creed means when it represents or symbols of the body, the politic known as Moorish American, the lineage of Jesus, which is Yeshua, is important to us as Moorish Americans. Come on. We say we're from the tribe of Judah, from the lineage of David. Come on, man. And what the scriptures say, the genealogy of Jesus with 18 missing years of his life. I mean, come on. You don't got to listen to me. But it's connecting us back to our ancient forefathers, our divine creed. The prophet taught us that Jesus, which is Yahshua, was of the blood of the Canaanites and the Moabites. We base our doctrine on this fact that we are descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Moabites, Cush and Ham. Seeing even nationality is from Allah, seen in the Holy Koran or the Surah 49:13. Right? Come on, somebody. Talk to me. I know. And my Muslim brother on there, he like, man, you just giving them the essence of Sufism. Hey, and we have to. And here it is, my Muslim, he said most brothers caught up in religion. And that's what we're talking about. I don't come from no religion. These historical tenets come from Allah, as the Asiatic nations had a divine origin. The great G.M. James, author of The Stolen Legacy, what I told you earlier, stated in his book, the Moors are the custodians, the keepers of the Egyptian mystery system. Didn't I give you that earlier? When I be telling brothers, when they want to argue so much and they talk about science, they say, look, the Europeans, they got Allah, Islam on their fez. And I say, cuz they stole the science from you. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they all stole in Egypt. When they're in the Blue Lodge, after they become 32 and 3 degrees, only then do they become the shrine and put the fez on. And I tell brothers, you get this in the temple. But brothers don't understand, but that's a whole nother subject. But Noble Drew Ali, he demonstrated the fact decades before the book Stolen Legacy was written, as Professor Drew, the Egyptian is adapt. Yeah, I'm going to pull it out. And brothers be hating. I said, this brother was brilliant. This brother was brilliant. Professor Drew, the Egyptian adapt. We have a chapter in our Moorish Holy Quran speaking specifically to Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa, and the keys of civilization have always been in the hands of the Moorish. The places of Egypt, India, and Palestine are the locations of the origins of the expression of Moorish Islam, which is giving light to the term old-time religion. We have something older than Al-Islam, but we use it to advance to the science across the planets. Whatever the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, it was both for a spiritual degree and a physical degree. All my words are spirit echoed our prophet Drew Ali, and that you should take heed. Jesus conquering death, the crucifixion, and beliefs that sits in the Moorish Islamic paradigm. But also it's known that Muhammad is one of the prophets on our nationality card, right? It is important to study the life of Prophet Muhammad, the revelation known as Koran, just as you should know Confucius, or Confucius like people like to say, but it's Confucius, and the Gautama Buddha, when I talk about the Africans in Asia, the Black Sambo, when I talk about the Nagas, the ability to translate the physical teachings of the Moorish Islam into spiritual degrees. Are we clear? It's simple due to the fact that it was all divinely prepared so that you will have no excuse getting to know thyself as the Father God Allah. We are taught that Mecca is the holy city that is protected by angels from the disbelievers. The same historical degree can be symbolized in man also, for man is a holy city himself. He is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh, which is an angel. And he protects selves from the disbelievers, known as what? Inconsistency, misery, grief, weakness, doubt. This is what our Islam, this is what this is about. Being accountable, not placing blame on an individual idea, such as the devil made me do it. The sin lies in the wish, in the desire not to act. Because I just gave you the other day, if you follow my lecture, the sin god in Mesopotamia. The sin god, the moon god, SIN. Research this. This is a principle that we know is truth through life experience. And again, this is telling us that thought is the cause of it all. And we must be aware of what we think. Me and my dad, we converse all day and we say, man, once we master our thought and eliminating all negative conversation, eliminate all doubt, eliminate all prejudice, and not just prejudice outside, but prejudice from within. When you limit yourself, when you think of anything that's negative, that's on a different vibration, it throw that pendulum off. You can think too hard and too long. When I was doing my undergrad and my master's, me and my wife getting it, but we're thinking too hard and too long. We know, no, you got it. We already done did our spirits. We did our rituals. We did our meditations. We in the right spirit. We did everything to succeed. You've done everything to succeed. So once you eliminate the doubt, man, it's already done. But the universal Allah is one. Yet he is more than one. The universal Allah is known by many names as man identifies the part of Allah he sees. We as Moors do not see Allah per se. Follow me. But we see Allah in the great meeting place known as the heart. It is also stated that Allah is wisdom, will, and love. And this is the internal. We know that wisdom is the consciousness that man is aught, that Allah and man are one, a unity, a synchronicity. The Moorish Islamic paradigm, we know that force is the will of Allah. This force brings power. This is the will directed by the holy breath, which is temporary to push the will into love, which is no more than manifesting your thoughts into the physical manifest. We can call this creation of heaven or hell, as these are conditions, family, or types. When the will and the breath aligns, there is a birth. We address at times that Allah being called the husbandman. The husband has a wife. And in man, the wife exists. It's called what? She. In our Moorish Holy Koran, she is the what, family? Come on, somebody answer it to me. Somebody Moorish, let me get some libations. Somebody answer it to me. In the Holy Quran, she is the what? I'm going to wait a couple more minutes. And see, this is the stuff that we should be going over in the temples. We should be studying everything to understand how we operate to bring our family and our wives together, to become self-sufficient, to be making our own clothes, teaching our own literature, writing our own literature, publishing our own literature. That's the lane I'm in. When I say I'm not no street Moor, I'm into all that. I'm into all soldiers and all that, but it's a level. So I'm going to say it again. The husband has a wife, and in man, the wife exists. It's called she. In our Moorish Holy Quran, this she is the holy breath. Just as a physical woman giving birth is told to breathe, breathe, push, force, will, right? Existence, the child, love, made manifest. This is what we do. We push thoughts into physical manifestation. When the marriage takes place in the man. Come on, man. Y'all got to follow me. When I say I'm in a spiritual world, if I would have been in a physical world, I have to be honest, I would have already been dead. And I can speak boldly of that. I already been took out. Because when my brother was murdered, I was already there. I was already walking the dark side. I can speak boldly of that. Because I know where I've been. And I know the spirit that's in me. That's why when I tell brothers I'm successful, because I know who I am. And I have love for my family. I've been there. So I'm telling you, this is a spiritual battle you fight. And if you try to do everything on your own understanding, you have lost already. And I'm not for you. But this is a part of our divine creed, as these tenets, these beliefs, and these principles thus share pertain to God or relating to God. We believe that animals or the animal are deities, that to harm anything living, we will be to dishonor Allah, for who gives man the right to destroy for the sake of destruction, recreation. I know you following me, family. This is a Buddhist ideology and a practice which stem from where? India, one of the places of our Islam derived, according to the noble Drew Ali, according to what everybody posted. And when I talk about this science, they be like, man, what you talk about? I'll be like, oh man, I'm just talking about this. As Moors, we do not adhere to evolution. We adhere to Allah, and that the divine law, creative, fate, is the author and the governor of all. That is another name we give to our creative fate, is Elohim, that which Allah breathed into existence in the form of 7 spirits. Do you hear me, the 7 spirits, when I talk about the Gautama Buddha sitting on the 7 serpents? Come on, you got to get into the S. You got to get into this. This should give you bumps. We also find the relation of these 7 Elohim in man as the what? See, I'm talking about you and me. I ain't just talking about me. Me and my dad was going to the store today, and we was talking about when people not okay, they're saying they don't know something. When I say, I'll give you a compass, throw you in the middle of the jungle, and tell you to get somewhere. You don't even know how to get there. You'll try to eat the compass because you will be out there starving. We got to be okay with somebody showing us how to use the compass. We got to be okay with somebody getting our kundalini out the knot. We got to be okay with being taught by our own brother. That's our problem when they say we crowds in a bucket. But Elohim in man as the 7 chakras, the vortexes of the gate of creation, Jesus, which is Yahshua, destroyed the evolution ideology of Barato Abrabo and corrected his doctrine. Come on, Moors, y'all know what I'm talking about. Elohim, the 7 planes, protoplasm, earth, beast, plant, man, angel, and cherubim. Huh? All pertain to Allah, and the belief in these things are of me, our divine creed. the divine creed is not just beliefs, principles, and laws. It is also application. Our divine creed is an action, just like love, action. And we are given the proper direction on how to fulfill aspects of our divine creed, such as feeding the poor, assisting with those in need, sharing the wisdom, helping fallen humanity, the best of your ability with the etiquette of your masters, of yourself, sharing this wisdom with your brothers and sisters that want to know about their nationality and their spirituality, for they can do it the proper way. We're not here to promulgate no religious dogma and make somebody believe how we believe. We want everybody to come together for we can walk as one body and one vibration. We developed the great Moorish understanding, the great Moorish listening, and following the divine instructions set forth. One of the commandments was to study thyself. When done, study again. That's like one of my key words. When I tell brothers, why are you talking about what I said? You ain't wrote nothing down, so I know. When I do lectures on college campuses, everybody have pens. When I do lectures with brothers, and when I've been to places where it's most brothers, they're shaking their head. I'm like, brother, I tell you to study thyself. So you can tone it down a little bit, so you can turn the volume down. And when done, study thyself again. What I'm saying is never an ending story. The self is infinite. You alive, you should continue to be growing. You should continue to be striving. You should continue to be a success within. If not, you attached to the wrong people. My family speak life into me. Man, when I go get the groceries and I got my shirt off and my wife say, man, look at all them groceries. You look big. I try to get all the groceries out the truck. You know what I'm saying though, family? This. We must know who we are, man. But it's never ending. It's never end. We must continue to grow. And that's what Noble Drew Ali was saying. In this day and time, Noble Drew Ali, we can learn from the life examples of what not to do. Noble Drew Ali's life, his character, his object is a central theme of Moorish Islam. As Noble Drew Ali is the founder, he came with the light and not Allah in the head. This whole movement is a divine creed. This including the national side being divine also. So when you see brothers telling you to do this and do this, the first thing and they talking about nationality, they say, okay, are you nationalized? And they get mad. But they telling you to do something. And they don't even have their ID, they don't even have their paperwork. And I'm telling you, Moorish science is not you going to no court trying to get something free. If somebody telling you doing that, that's messed up. I would never tell you to do something I wouldn't do. So when brothers be saying, oh, you can do this, and they posting stuff on this, posting these old laws, the first thing you got to ask them, say, are you on the national side too? Have you went through it the right way? Do you have your paperwork and your birthrights and everything, and your 3 ID cards and all your birthrights? If you're promulgating this, because if they are, they'll be speaking from love, and they'll be connecting the dots. But the eclectic age is how we measure time as Moors. What is an age? It is a 2,170 years as we move at our age of Pisces to believe we are moving into the age of Aquarius. To know the seal of the prophet is the age of Pisces, ending the end belief, the systems, and a new era of time, which is age, is occurring. Who controls the age and the noblest image of universal creation, the planets, the stars, the galaxies? Who control that? Allah. My brother keep going. He man, go. Okay, I'm going to go until it cut off. All right. It's going to cut off in 6 minutes probably. But the descendants of Adam and Eve are the pale-skinned nations of the Europe, who were referred to as the Romans by our prophet. He gave them 5 names, right? This is what, we got to understand this. This is not me. This is what the text. So brothers be saying the Koran and Noble Drew Ali, what did he give them? Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, beast. This is important to us because we ourselves have to account for 2 of these in self. Why you say that? Chapter 1 speaks about the carnal nature that sprang forth and became an enemy to man, right? Is from the flesh, right? It has its own nature. In the Holy Quran, it says Satan is the whisperer. This is a symbolic to the nature in your flesh. It speaks, family. It whispers. And if you listen, acknowledge, and participate, your actions are devil per se. Follow me, family. Moorish Islam leads one back to Allah and the self. Always. Always. And this is why we must be in constant study of self. You have to use your tools. What tools? Your workman tools, your craftsman tools, and your what? Your scimitar to keep the disbelievers, to keep the naysayers. We don't respond to naysayers. One guy emailed me, say, hey man, somebody gonna email you something, man. I said, man, I don't respond to nobody. No negative vibrations. I could care less what somebody think. That's lower self. Always. We have never been painted or stained and varnished or dyed color per se. We do not walk on all fours. I am not a Negro. And we are not dead black in science, in a court of law. When I gave you the black Christian codes, these certain things was law. All of this ties back to our divine creed. Why? Because only Allah made nations and tribes. And we all agree. We all agree. We are not dead, right? Nowhere to the annals of history, according to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or color race attached to the human family. Remember, and when I speak, human and mankind are two different things. When you take the HU and the HUE, you got to research what that suffix means. That means something of color. We must understand science. You don't have to believe nothing I say. We are Moorish Americans without a doubt or contradiction. That's why when I stand proud, when I graduated from the university, I said, I'm proud to say I'm a Moorish American. I'm a Moroccan, Moorishko, however you want to say it. I wear my fez everywhere. I don't do nothing in clandestine. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali addressed to us. He addressed to us as Muslims, M-O-S-L-E-M-S, not Muslims, not M-U-S-L-I-M. While there is conflict surrounding this word as such, and it's a shame because there shouldn't be no conflict. It's just letter semantics. But I beg to differ, family. The word first is older than the modern counterpart, Muslim. Also the word Muslim with the O, we see being utilized by the Shriners. Follow me when I tell you they taking all your science and you not even understand it. It's utilized by the Shriners. Why? Because they Muslim sons. When I call them little brothers converted. The word Muslim denotes a high spiritual station. A high spiritual station. And really has nothing to do with organized al-Islam or Muslim. Matter of fact, family, it's not even synonymous with these terms. Argue and bicker all you want, family. I'm not here for that. But this is not an Arab manifest. So I'll get back with y'all tomorrow, man. I'm going to finish up. I'm going to give y'all part 2. We're here to study and learn. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. Ashe. Shalom Malakim.